Yo, what's the event in hip hop that broke the camel's back? Pause. To make it to where you could snitch. And if you make good music or something, you could still live out here in hip hop. Like what was the straw that broke the camel's back in hip hop where we had a code and there is no code no more. There just isn't no code no more. And what do you think is the event that, I remember growing up, even if you was fronting, you wasn't a real gangster, but you was spitting gangster rap. You wasn't with the rats like that. Right now, this
too many of them.
Sold out concerts.
I don't think you can escape them. They're all around. They're like New York City rats. Humans. It's rats everywhere. And everywhere is everything,
Too many Fredos, not enough Michaels.
That's a fact.
Some of these guys got to take a boat ride, never come back. Sammy the Bull is the most famous rat on the earth. Sammy the Bull. Then you came Alpo, guy everybody looked up to, charismatic, Harlem fly, Louis Vuitton, this, that, Told. He did that, right?
Shout out to Wayne Perry and Wayne Perry Jr.
Then, in hip-hop, the day 6ix9ine sat on that stand.
Yo.
No! Man. You remember, if you're watching the story, they taking him to court in bulletproof vests. They acting like he was telling on El Chapo. He put a lot of good people in jail, man.
No, we gotta put him away till his time.
Yo,
my feeling is gonna get close.
You feeling this?
I feel his time has come. I feel his time is gonna be soon, though. Yeah.
Does it not matter no more? And I believe 6ix9ine, when he gave guys 20 years in jail. All the guys he was like, but he fucked my wife. But he did. That means nothing. There's a man that works in a bodega that never been a criminal in his life.
When Fat Joe's old comments got dragged back into the spotlight, 6ix9ine snapped. He fired back hard, putting Joe's name right in the middle of the chaos. And this wasn't just him talking slick. He came loaded with receipts, digging up stories that go way back. The crazy part? When people actually checked what 6ix9ine said, a lot of it matched up with real history.
If I crown myself the rat leader, he crowned himself as the cap leader. He didn't rob no 50 at no gym. Yo, bro, I'm not gonna lie, bro. Which one's my camera? That one?
Yeah.
This one? That one? Yeah, Fat Joe, you're a you're I'm not even gonna lie, you're a captain of the cap. Like, nobody believe, even your co-host who's Jadakiss don't believe you. Every time you say a cap, that like, but like I said, you gonna go.
Flag, flag on the play.
And my next song, I even say, I be spitting so much facts that I make jokes to distract. That's the next bar in my song. Don't like the truth, so y'all make jokes to distract. We know this lying, right? All right, yo, listen to me. Listen.
But there's
to
a lot
me.
of people that say he ain't lying.
He ain't lying. Yeah. All right, which one's my camera? If Fat Joe is not lying, the next person on the Dance Project, bring Big Pun's son. Bring Big Pun's son on the Dance Project. Welcome back.
Chris Rivers.
Welcome back, y'all. Let's skip this clip. Watch, when he see this clip, he gonna hit up, yo, Chris, don't do that. How much money you need? Out of here. Yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah, you just said a lot. You just said a lot.
Bring Big Pun's son, even on the verses. Remember when he was facing Ja Rule?
Yeah.
And they said, don't play that shit. That's Big Pun. Don't do that. Don't do what, fat bitch?
He didn't pull up to make peace or play nice. Nah, 6ix9ine showed up to clear his name, shake the room, and make sure everyone felt that energy. The moment he started dropping facts, the place went quiet, like nobody knew what to say. But let's rewind for a second, because Fat Joe's been on this man's back for years. He's been steady with it, Every interview, every podcast, every live stream, Joe always finds a way to mention 6ix9ine. From my expert opinion with Math Hoffa to random IG lives, Joe's made one thing loud and clear. He's not rocking with that man at all. In one old interview, Joe didn't bite his tongue for a second. He straight up called 6ix9ine a rat, a disgrace, and even bad for the culture. He claimed he tried to warn 6ix9ine early, telling him those RICO charges were coming, but 6ix9ine supposedly brushed it off like it was nothing.
And so we find ourselves in situations like Liza Rios has with Joe Cartagena, Fat Joe, where, you know, you got to file a lawsuit to figure out what actually happened and to find out where is the money. So today, although Fat Joe's lawyers originally filed an answer in the case, they subsequently filed a motion to dismiss, as did Jelly's Jams, not claiming that they don't owe any money, but just making technical legal arguments that basically saying that Liza can't sue them for one reason or another. We feel pretty good about the hearing. There was a hearing that took place today, oral arguments for our side and for Jelly's Jams and Fat Joe to talk about why we believe that they should be kept in this case and why we believe that they basically had fiduciary duties, meaning a higher standard than a breach of contract standard to pay Liza monies that were due her husband so that her family can benefit. You asked if it was a rehashing. Well, in some ways it's the same issue. The big question is where's the money, right? So, and there's some new information has come to light just of late that is setting some light on what happened to the money. And so that's really why this lawsuit is being filed now. You know, over time, you know, you're supposed to get royalties twice a year or whatever, and most of the time the accounts are saying they're unrecouped. So when an artist is getting statements that say they're unrecouped, there's really no reason for them to think that there should be money there. In this particular case, we found the reason to believe that there really should be some more money there. And that is that we found out that in foreign territories overseas, that the writer splits are not properly reflected for the songs the way they should have been. And that's indicating that there was some money that was collected there that shouldn't have been collected. So that's where we're after. We're trying to pursue that. Actually, the important thing is that now artists are also getting paid for that money. ASCAP and BMI, the traditional, you know, societies that collect money for songwriters, have been able to collect money for those streaming services and other, you know, new technology.
Then, when the whole situation blew up, Joe popped back out with that "I told you so" vibe, like he saw it coming from day one. Ever since, Joe's been carrying that same energy, acting like the voice of the streets, standing on the no snitching code like it's gospel. Every time someone mentions 6ix9ine, Joe steps up like he's representing the OGs and the so-called real ones. Now, Fat Joe's almost 50, right? You'd think he'd be chasing peace, not more problems. Sure, people keep bringing 6ix9ine's name into interviews, and maybe Joe feels like he's got to respond. But still, if he's all about growth and calm vibes, why keep another man's name spinning in the mix? It's like Fat Joe just can't help himself.
After warning Tekashi, because I saw it when you sat with him. And I was like, Joe is trying to put him on right now, and
I'ma just be honest with you. Damn, you went there?
Yeah, I went there.
This is a sucker. He's a sucker.
Talk, let me get, yo.
Okay.
Pop another bottle, man.
No, I ain't drink. I'm dead sober.
Crazy. Talk that talk, man. Yeah.
No, I'm dead sober. This dude here, this type of shit, this doing, I'm convinced he wanna die. I don't wish it on him or nothing like that, but I'm convinced he's miserable in his body. He can't look in the mirror. Nah, I don't know if he got him. He's a lot of
He just got knocked.
So now the man snitch, right? Cool, do you, whatever. I don't like the taunting. I try to tell him, like, what happens? Like, yo, bro, listen, I didn't know if he really did it. I didn't know what was going on. The crazy shit is when I talked to him in that interview, I talked to him off the air, and he lied to me and told me, yo, this is just an image, I'm fronting this and this and that. He told me that in front of Shotty and them. They were standing right there with him.
He said what?
Joe.
This is
told
just
me
an
that he was
image.
lying.
He's an image.
Yo, Joe, I'm not really doing this. I'm not a gangster. You know, this is all for like promotion. I got it. At that point, I said, so you're not doing nothing because you're gonna go to jail if you're really doing stuff.
Right.
Nah, Joe, I don't do nothing. I'm good.
Every time things cool down, he jumps right back into the drama. The crazy part? 6ix9ine never even snitched on Fat Joe or anyone connected to him. Everything that happened went down between 6ix9ine and his own crew, the same people who robbed him, kidnapped him, and tried to line him up. But somehow, Joe keeps spinning the story like he's hip-hop's moral guardian, acting like he's the one protecting the culture's purity.
Fat Joe said that.
Fat Joe's a
Lean back.
We've been leaning back for 20 years, man. Like,
He said you crowned yourself the rat leader and you wrote the 48 laws of snitch.
And get this. Joe told Jay Duckers that one night he was up late, thinking hard about what to say on his podcast, and suddenly, it hit him. Who started the snitching epidemic in hip-hop? Without skipping a beat, he pointed straight at 6ix9ine. Wild, right? After all these years, Joe's still finding new ways to drag this man's name into his conversations.
if I crown myself the rat leader, he crowned himself as the cap leader. He didn't. I'm not even gonna lie. You're captain of the cap. Like, if Fat Joe is not lying, the next person on the Dance Project, bring big.
Then Joe went on this full-blown rant saying, yo, what's the event in hip-hop that broke the camel's back? Like, when did it become okay to snitch, drop some hits, and still move around the game like nothing happened? What was the moment where we had a code, and now there's just no code no more? None. He even said, I remember growing up, even if you was pretending to be gangster, you still weren't cool with the rats like that. But now, there's too many of them out here packing out concerts.
They all a rat. They're like New York City rats. Human.
Now let's be real. What does any of that have to do with music? 6ix9ine hasn't been topping charts lately. Sure. His last big record dropped years ago, and since then, the buzz has definitely slowed down. But Joe's obsession clearly isn't about the music. It's personal. That's what makes the whole thing so wild. Let's call it how it is. Most hip-hop fans today aren't even from the streets. They're not living by that old-school code Joe keeps preaching about. Yet here he is, still holding on to that same story like it's gospel. Let's be real. Probably 90% of hip-hop listeners never lived by any street code. Even a lot of black fans didn't grow up in those same blocks where those rules were created. So why should that code decide what songs people play or who they support? The game has changed big time, but some folks still act like it's stuck in the 90s. Go to any major rap concert right now and look around. What do you see? Crowds full of suburban kids, college students, and everyday people who just vibe with the beats, the energy, and the lifestyle. They're not worried about who's certified or who kept quiet in court. So when Fat Joe starts preaching about real ones and street loyalty, it feels like he's talking to an audience that moved on years ago. But still, Joe keeps blaming 6ix9ine for breaking the code and ruining the rules. When 6ix9ine finally clapped back, though, he didn't duck from his past. He leaned into it. He flipped the whole situation upside down and started calling out the real double standards Joe's been pushing for years. That hit deep, like a punch to the chest. Because in the streets, there's one thing everybody agrees on. You look out for the people who rode for you. That's not just loyalty. That's the foundation of the whole code. If someone risked it all, carried your name, or bled for your movement, you make sure their people are taken care of. No excuses. But according to 6ix9ine, and a bunch of folks who've been paying attention, Fat Joe didn't hold up that part of the game. 6ix9ine called him out by name, saying Joe turned his back on Big Pun's family, especially Pun's son, when they needed him the most. And here's the craziest part. This isn't even new drama. This story's been echoing around hip-hop for years. Big Pun's wife, Liza Rios, has been speaking up forever, accusing Fat Joe of holding on to money that should have gone to Pun's estate. And we're not talking about small checks either. This is serious cash, royalties, publishing money, performance pay, the type of bread that keeps a legend's family stable long after they're gone. So when 6ix9ine dropped that bomb, people felt it. because that's not just gossip. That's legacy talk. Fat Joe once tried to defend himself saying, "Right, so when she came to me and told me that, we did 2 projects and we got her, not us. We didn't take $1. We got her $1 million for her and the family." Then she ran through it because she was used to spending that money. She comes back, I write her a check out my pocket, boom. And I'm like, yo, it ain't no more after that. But when Liza Rios heard that, she wasn't having it at all. She came out swinging, calling Joe's version of events a flat-out lie. Liza didn't just talk, she took it to court, filing a lawsuit claiming Big Pun's royalties were still being collected, but not by the people who were supposed to get them. That's when things got real messy. According to her side, Joe kept telling the family, "There's no more money coming in. It's all going to old debts." But when they started digging, they allegedly discovered checks were still coming through, and someone else was cashing them. That lawsuit shook the whole hip-hop scene. Overnight, Fat Joe went from being viewed as the OG of loyalty to the guy everyone wanted answers from. Reports say the case either got settled quietly behind the scenes, or maybe it's still moving somewhere through the system. Nobody really knows for sure. But when 6ix9ine brought up Big Pun's family, it wasn't some random diss. It was a calculated hit straight at Joe's credibility. He flipped Joe's favorite words, honor, loyalty, taking care of your people, and threw them right back at him like a mirror. Because if Joe really stands on that code, then why is Big Pun's family still out here fighting for what's rightfully theirs? That's the question that made everyone stop talking for a second. You could almost feel the silence. And honestly, if that story holds any truth, that might even be worse than snitching. Because one thing is breaking a code when your life's on the line, but breaking your word to your brother's family, that's a whole different level of foul. That's the kind of move that cuts deep and never heals. 6ix9ine's whole message hit hard. It was simple but sharp. Don't talk morals if you're not living them. Don't scream street code if you only follow the parts that make you look good. He flipped the game on its head, forcing the culture to look at itself and see that sometimes the ones yelling realist in the room might be the ones playing the dirtiest behind the curtain. Meanwhile, the internet keeps tagging 6ix9ine as the biggest rat in hip-hop. But now people are starting to ask, who's really real? Because sometimes the loudest voices preaching loyalty are the ones still breaking it when nobody's watching. It's messy, it's chaotic, but it's real. And that's exactly why this whole situation has everyone talking nonstop. When it all comes down to it, Fat Joe and 6ix9ine represent 2 worlds crashing into each other. Joe comes from that old school cloth where silence was power, loyalty was sacred, and you handled business behind closed doors. But 6ix9ine? He's built for the digital battlefield, where exposure is the new weapon, and raw truth spreads faster than any rumor ever could. This time, his truth hit harder than anyone saw coming, shaking the culture in ways that can't be ignored. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, share this story, and drop your thoughts in the comments. This one's got the whole game talking.